Well, in the words of one of my early songs, blimey, what a year. It was a year ago since I sat down here and started my first little YouTube Wheellerplays Story. And I had no idea if anyone would watch. I noticed today 1,500 views for that first episode. Anyway, I'm not going to hark back over the last year. I'll say one thing. None of this had happened last year. So these are the books published by Salamander Street. This is just a selection of them. Silas Marner, Checkered Flags, and of course the Act Normal monologues. So pleased that this has happened. And my lockdown hero has been George, who rescued my work from obscurity when Zinc mysteriously and suddenly closed down. Anyway, that's all the last year, and blimey, what a year. It really sums it up. I've got three pieces of news today. The first thing is, as we speak, I think, up north, somewhere near Leeds, this is happening. The streamed production, ACE funded, so Arts Council, I don't know what the E bit, England, Arts Council England funded are filming the production that Tie It Up Theatre Company have taken on the road for the past few years. The success of their I Love You Mum film led to Arts Council England funding it, together with poor Maureen Dunbar, who passed away last year. Her family very generously wanted something to be done as a legacy to Maureen. And what better thing could they leave as a legacy of the film, of the professional production of Hard to Swallow. It's being filmed this week, ready for a stream, and the stream production or virtual production will go into schools from, I think, next month. They're turning it around incredibly quickly and managing to do this despite all the various COVID restrictions there have been. It's been an amazing effort. Talking of streams, we've got streams of my productions performed by OYT and other youth theatre companies, and indeed the Chicken production, the professional company performance of Chicken. They are now streamed by Salamander Street, and the message about that is in the little comments box underneath the link of how you can manage to stream them. So you can buy them into schools, and you can use them for a whole year or for 100 performances. So you can show it to all your classes. I think they can take them home and watch them at home with a password. I don't quite understand how it works. It's all a bit 2021 and I'm still a bit 1990. The other thing I'm doing, before I get onto the news about Too Much Punch for Judy, is writing a book. And this is the proof pages from the book. This is my period with Tony Key in 4R. I'm just going through the early pages. This is moving on to Stantonbury, me becoming a drama teacher. And a look at verbatim theatre. The title is Verbatim, The Fun of Making Theatre Seriously. That's going to be published in the autumn. I'm doing the final proofs today, and then things will start moving. Now, the big, kind of fairly awful news is the news of Steve Marriott's biography, which is now out. It's a thick book. And it's a wonderful oral history biography. So it's written very much like my plays are, with different bits spoken by different people. You can see there. And I'm going to read you what Christine Law said. So this is the thing that was news to me, brand new news to me, that Tony's second accident just after Steve's death clearly wasn't, very, very sadly, the first time she'd drunk driven. Since she'd killed her sister. This is what Christine Law said. Do you want to really know what happened in LA? So Tony was out in LA with her then husband Steve Marriott. He was on a big recording contract with Peter Frampton, and suddenly they had to fly back, and I'd never even asked why they had to fly back. But here's the story. Why they had to fly back? I'll tell you why. Because Tony had done several things since regarding the family, to Toby in particular, Steve's son, that I don't like. So I'm going to tell you the truth. And the truth is, they were driving back from dinner and she got a DUI, driving under the influence. And because of her record back in England, which we know she'd killed her sister, where she had accidentally killed her sister, She was really scared about this DUI, about being in America, a very volatile place. So she ran. And she said, let's get on the next plane. And they did. They just grabbed their shit and went straight out to the airport. Toby Marriott speaking. The DUI. Tony told me that they were both drunk, that she hadn't drunk a lot, but she had had some. They were pulled over and they hauled Tony off to jail, and Steve just left her to sit in jail. She was in a cell a few hours, and the guy who was looking after them, Howie I think his name was, came and got her out. They went and searched for Steve. They found him at the Rainbow with a woman on his lap. Tony walked up to him and punched him in front of everyone. And that was the end of that night. Tony would later claim that Marriott was pressured to stay, by whom it's unclear in America, asked not to return to England, but he wanted to. She said both of them did. They were unhappy. What a tragic, tragic end. And it also says at the end of the book that Tony, as in Judy, had a serious fall in her house and ended up giving herself a brain hemorrhage. And I can remember her saying, I'd like the second half of my life to be happier. It seems now in a world where she apparently, I don't know this and I really hope it's not true, she apparently is drinking. The world of her life being happier hasn't come true to her, for her. I desperately hope there's some good news around the corner for this story, which just seems to deliver worse and worse scenario and situation. And I felt reading the book, and I haven't read all of it yet, but I've read all the bits pertaining to her. I felt really protective towards her in a kind of really weird, almost parental way. We weren't that different in age, and I just hope that somehow things can go better for Judy, because Tony Marriott made my career so different. I owe her so much, and what I think is her honesty in telling me what had happened. She didn't tell me some of the things that did happen, but everything she did say was just so heartfelt, and that play is just such a powerful play still. I really, really feel for her, despite obviously the very, very, very bad things that she's done. So sorry, this isn't a more upbeat thing, but I wanted to say something on the day of this 1 year since I did that first little episode.